Today we are going to be painting some really simple butterflies with watercolor. I'm Viv from Art with Viv, and welcome to Art with Viv. Alright, I'm just starting off with a 3/4 inch flat brush. I've got some 140-pound cold press watercolor paper, and I'm just going to take that flat brush and put some clean water all over the surface of the paper. Now, this is really simple. This is such a simple thing, just something to get your sort of creativity going without really having to do a lot of thinking and a lot of planning. So all we're going to do now, while the paper is still wet, is just start dropping in some random colors. I'm using some transparent yellow, transparent orange. I've got some aqua blue greens and some pinks and some maroons, and I'm just going to drop them all in there, random places on the paper while it's still wet. Make sure your paper is really nice and juicy and wet, and you just start randomly placing those colors all around the whole surface. You want to cover up that whole surface of the paper and mix your, don't mix your colors. What I mean is choose different colors, but don't mix the colors on the paper or they might look a little brown. You want these to stay bright and crisp, so you can put them right up against each other and let the water sort of mingle them together, but don't take your brush and mix them together because it'll make them look a little gray. Again, I've got some aqua blue green here going in with my maroons, my oranges, my yellows, and you can choose any colors you would like to have. So the color combinations are completely up to you. So you want to get that all painted, different colors, and then let it dry. And then we'll move on to our next portion. Now once that's dry, what I did was I took a piece of tracing paper, I folded it in half. I already pre-drew my half of the butterfly on there, but I'm just darkening it up because I just wanted you to be able to see what I was doing. So I lightly drew it in, and now I'm doing it really dark so you can see. So you put that paper in half, the tracing paper, you folded it in half. On one side you're drawing one wing or both wings of one side of the butterfly. Once you get that in there, you're going to open the paper back. Well, actually, you're going to flip the paper over. So you've got one half of the butterfly. You're going to flip that paper over and just trace it on the back side. Just trace what you just drew. This way you can have a pretty symmetrical butterfly going. So you'll just trace that to the other half of the paper. Make sure that the fold goes straight down the body of the butterfly. You don't want to do your your wings on the edge that is open. You want it to do on the fold of the edge, the folded edge. And then so you'll just trace it onto the other side of the paper, and when you open it up, you have a symmetrical butterfly. So then what I'm going to do is turn it over, and I'm going to trace over those lines that I just drew. So I've got that face up. I'm tracing over the lines. I'm using a really soft B pencil because what I'm going to do is turn that side toward my painting and then trace on the opposite side, the back side of it, so that those marks will be left from that B pencil that I've just traced with. That'll be left onto my painted paper. So watch and you'll see what I mean. So I'm carefully drawing those in, then I'm going to flip it over so that this part that I just went over with my B pencil is going to be on the surface of what we just painted. Make sure your painting is dry, and then you're just going to trace around the butterfly and all around all the edges, and you can place it any way you want to all over your painted surface. And I will let you watch and see what happens. When I pull this tracing paper up, then it will have transferred onto that painted paper. So just watch for a second. So once you get your butterflies however you want them on your paper, see what I mean, how that graphite transferred onto the paper when I traced over that pencil and then turned that over with the pencil side down toward the painting and then retraced over it on the opposite side, then it left the pencil marks and it transferred it to my painting. So now I've got some black gouache. You can use black watercolor. I'm just using black gouache. You could also use pen and ink if you've got a black pen. And I'm just gonna paint the outlines, and I'm gonna let that beautiful background shine through, almost like stained glass a little bit. But or it kind of reminds you of tie-dye. This is just an easy way to get a really pretty painting. It's more of a, more graphic, more designerly. It's not exactly painterly, but it is a way to get those creative juices flowing, and you'll still have a nice painting at the end. So I'm gonna let you watch. All I'm gonna do is just trace around all of the outline drawings and letting that background, peek through the black edges. Also going to paint the body and the little antenna of the butterflies. Now you can draw your butterflies any shape you want to, but this is just the shape that I chose. So I'm going to let you watch that just for a little bit, and I'll be back in a second. So I have all of my black outlines painted. That beautiful background is showing through. So I'm taking a little bit of white gouache, or you can use Dr. Martin's bleed proof white, a white paint pen, something that's opaque and white. And I'm just putting some dots just to make a little pattern on the black parts of the butterfly wherever I think it will look good. It's up to you. This isn't a realistic butterfly, obviously, so you can just really go crazy with the design however you want it to be on your painting. Then you'll put those little white dots in. Make sure though that your black is completely dry, and if you're using ink, make sure that it is waterproof once dry, and make sure that it's 100% dry, so that it doesn't bleed and blur when you put this white over it. But I used gouache, so I didn't really have a big problem with it, and I'm using a thick white gouache just to make the little dots and the patterns on the body and his little head there. So there you go. I'm going to let you watch this and I will be back in just a second. Now you'll just get these little dots finished up. We're finished up here, and you'll have some really pretty butterflies, a really simple painting, just something to get your creativity just going and going for this week. And I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and give me a little like, and consider subscribing, and please share it with someone that loves art as much as I do. That will help my channel a lot and keep me able to continue this. I will see you soon. Happy painting, guys.